I know you have certain feelings that you can't control. You have certain urges that you wish you didn't have. You worry and you wish you didn't worry because you know it's not doing any good, but you just can't stop worrying. You feel you just don't have control over yourself, your thoughts and your feelings. So all these are common experiences. Somebody's an alcoholic, they know they should stop. They know they're destroying their lives. They're destroying the lives of their families. They just find that they can't stop. Become a slave to the alcohol. We have smokers. We know it causes cancer, lung diseases, cancer, all sorts of diseases. We know that. Many people just can't stop. And if they stop, the urge is there. They say, I can't stop having this urge. I'm thinking about cigarettes all the time. People crave chocolate. They love chocolate, become like addicted to it. They might be sitting talking with you and you think they're just thinking of you as they're talking, but they're thinking about chocolate. You feel overwhelmed. The children are running all over the house. You're worried about income coming in. Your spouse isn't helping with the kids. You just can't stop this feeling of wanting to just go run away. You can't stop the feeling of anger. You're at the job and your supervisor keeps criticizing you. You always had good reviews, but now all of a sudden, no matter what you do, it's wrong. You feel micromanaged, unjustly criticized, overworked. Come home and you can't leave it behind you. You wish you could. Not only can't you leave it behind you, but you get upset with your spouse, or your partner, with the kids. You may snap at them and you wish you weren't that way. You wish you could just snap out of it. I'll just tell you this, there's no such thing as just snapping out of anything. But there are ways, and we're talking about ways, constructive ways, and the powers that we have where we can deal with all this. You have these nagging insecurities where you're just not enough. You have these insecurities, you just feel like you're a failure. Your friends have a house and they're married and they're having kids and you don't have those things. You just can't get rid of the feeling that you're a failure. Or people you know that marriages seem good and all you do is argue with your spouse and you just can't just walk around always angry and upset. Or you had a partner or a spouse that cheated on you and you went through the divorce and you just find that as hard as you try, you're just not able to trust another person in a romantic sense. You're just not able to trust. You wish you could. Your life would be so much better. You wish you could, but you're not able to do that. You felt so betrayed, so hurt, so angry, so bitter. This is the predicament of humanity. This is your predicament. This is my predicament. But I've got good news for you. I'm not just talking about the problems that discourage you or depress you. I've got some good news. The title of today's presentation is The 10 Greatest Powers of Your Mind. The 10 greatest powers of your mind. I'm Dr. Arnold Nerenberg. I've been a licensed clinical psychologist in the state of California since 1974. I've been in practice for over 50 years. And I've lived upon this earth over 84 years. And as I like to say to my people, I finally know what I'm doing. And that's the good news. I finally know what I'm doing. I'm able to tell you things I could have told you 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I like to tell people I didn't really start deeply understanding, profoundly understanding what was happening until I was about 70. So if you're not there yet, well, I'm sure you're not, most of you are not 70, so, but you're going to get this sooner than I did because I'm going to pass on to you this knowledge. The 10 greatest powers of your mind. Number one is one of the great powers of your mind. Awareness, or referred to as consciousness, awareness. Right now, you're aware of my voice. If you see me on the video, you're aware of my image. Pay attention to your breathing. You're aware of your breathing. Pay attention to your breathing right now. That brings us to your second power, volition. You were able to shift your attention to my voice, from my voice and watching me or whatever other kind of thoughts were going on, and you shifted it to your breathing at will. Volition, a tremendous power. So you have awareness. Not only are you aware, but you have the awareness of awareness. You're aware that you're aware. That's a great power. Awareness, consciousness. It's the foundation for everything else. So you have volition. So I'm going to demonstrate right now a power that you have, that we have, that no other species on Earth has. I'm going to demonstrate it to you. I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm going to demonstrate your power to you. You're going to be totally convinced that you have this power. Right now, have a pleasant memory. Have a thought of somebody you saw today that you love, or a food that you ate that you really enjoy. Have a pleasant memory. Now, I know you did it naturally, rapidly, and easily. Rapidly, naturally, and easily. If you were to ask a 6-year-old to do it, he or she could do that. But look what you did. Look what you achieved. You chose the polarity. It was a pleasant memory. It wasn't an unpleasant memory. It wasn't a neutral memory. It was pleasant, positive. You chose the polarity of your thought. You called into awareness through an act of volition, an act of will. You called into awareness a thought that prior to my asking you to do that, you weren't thinking about. So you've demonstrated volition and awareness right there. And you also chose not only the polarity, but you chose the time dimension. It wasn't the future, it wasn't the present, it was the past. It was the past. And you did that effortlessly, naturally, rapidly. As I said, a 6-year-old could do it. No other species can do that. None. They can problem solve, have emotions, stimulus response, but they cannot choose through an act of volition for a thought to come into their mind. So I've demonstrated to you 2 enormous powers. There's no question in your mind that you have these 2 powers I've begun with. 2, awareness and volition. So I know you have no doubt, and these powers are mighty powers. They're mighty powers. Mighty powers. They're mighty powerful powers. Yeah. Now, right now, have this thought 3 times. I wish you well. Again, I know you did it naturally, easily, rapidly. A 6-year-old could do that. We can do that. So look what you did. You chose the content of your thought. That's one of the great powers. We can choose the content. We can choose the polarity. And you could choose the frequency. You wanted to do it 3 times. And you were successful. So you have volition, awareness, And then within the context of volition, you can choose the polarity, the time dimension, and the content. Now, you could choose your words, not your thoughts, but your words. You could, right now, just say out loud, somebody's in the room or just to the air, I wish you well. I wish you well. Ha! I know you did it. So you had the power to choose your words. You chose the thought. You chose the word. This is an enormous power. I'm trying to give you an idea, a sense, and I'm demonstrating it, not just an abstract concept, demonstrating to you your great power. You were able to do that. Now, you could also choose an action. Right now, raise your hand and touch your forehead. You didn't have to do what I asked you. You chose to touch your forehead. I did too. So you see yourself choose your thought, your word, and your action. All great powers. Amazing powers. And I share this with you because I know how powerless you feel. We talked about how we're a slave to some habits, some thought patterns, some fears, some insecurities, some feelings we just can't shake. There's no such thing as snapping out of it or shaking it off. But even though we're powerless in many ways, but we have these powers that can be used to alter any thought pattern, word pattern, or action pattern, because even though we may not be able to stop the thought from coming in or a feeling, we can speak this into existence along with it. For example, let's say somebody offends you, insults you, and you get this reaction, I just like to tell this guy off. It's not the first time he's done it. Humiliates me. You're going home, you got offended, you're sitting around, you say to your partner, this guy said this to me, I'm so angry. And you can't help it. You didn't choose to be angry at him. You didn't choose to feel hurt or humiliated. That's how you feel. But you're not completely powerless. You have an awareness of your feeling, and you have volition. So you could, in your thought, go, that really hurt me, but I wish you well. That really hurt me, but I wish you well. I really do. Thinking that. So that relieves you of the toxicity of that anger. Now, I'm not saying the anger will go away. And keep in mind, that hurt, that humiliation, it's not your fault. You didn't choose to feel that way. I'm just saying, you're not stuck with it. You can do what I call speak a little bit of light into the darkness. Speak a little bit of light into that darkness. I wish you well. And if the hurt came from your somebody you love, your spouse, you can go, I love you and I wish you well. You speak that into the thoughts. I'm not even saying what you say to that person. You can certainly say it to that person, but certainly at the level of thought, I love you and I wish you well. All religions, without exception, talk about loving your enemy. Why? How do you do that? You want to strangle the guy. Because it's a way of diluting the poison. So if your spouse, you say, sweetheart, that hurt me, but I love you, I wish you well. I'm hurt, but hey, I love you. And so you could put it to a word. Or you can say, sweetheart, I think you're tired from the day. Let me rub you. Let me give you a little massage. I love you. You massage, and here you felt hurt, but you can do an action, start massaging the person. You can express love. You can think love. You can think, I wish you well. So, you are not that powerless. That hurt you had from your partner or spouse, maybe you felt humiliated, put down, but you weren't completely powerless. You were able to speak a little light into the darkness by the thought, by the word, and by the action. That is power. That is power where it counts the most. Over yourself. That is power over you. That is power over yourself. And that's who you're with 24/7. It's a good area to have power. I'm not saying that this will dissolve all your negativity, all your bad habits. But you can bring this kind of good thought into the darkness. That's how you speak light into the darkness. Now, in the teachings of honor I've developed over the last 50 years, you have 4 commands of honor. By rehearsing it and repeating them 3 times a day for all of your life, you're always ready. These thoughts become an anchor. So when you're taken off guard and your head's swimming and you're having these caught up in a vortex of negativity that you didn't choose based on your genetics, your family upbringing, societal norms, a negativity you never would have chose. Your head's swimming with it. But you've got an anchor, which is the teachings of honor as your anchor. 4 commands of honor. Very simple. You want to memorize them. I wish you well. I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems. We saw about how I wish you well speaks light into the darkness. But when you say I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems, you said that hurt me. But I co-created it. I shouldn't have done what I did to trigger that. Even though I feel you started it, I did set a trigger. Or I yelled back at you or you yelled at me, so I added fuel to the fire. So that empowers us not to beat ourselves up, feel guilty over it. I co-created that. And believe it or not, this gives you another power. I apologize. Please forgive me. That will dissolve a great deal of negativity. I apologize. Please forgive me for my part in that. That person may not apologize back because they're not necessarily the way you are, anchored in the honor teachings. I co-created that, sweetheart. I love you. Forgive me. I shouldn't have yelled back at you. That's on me. You'll feel better. It'll probably help the relationship quite a bit. But the point is, because you're practicing it 3 times a day, it's ready to go. It's an anchor. The commands of honor give a direction and an anchor to grab onto when you're sinking. And the negativity is normal that we all have. In one large study, it was found from the University of Maryland, it was found that 80% of our thoughts are negative. And 95% of those are ones that repeat themselves. So this is the human condition. We're negative because we're looking for ways to survive. We're watching for danger. We're programmed genetically to do that. So what we're doing goes beyond the normal into the supernormal. And we can do this. We were given these powers to go beyond our social condition, to go beyond our genetic inheritance, to go beyond our family upbringing. We can transcend it, but you have to be well steeped in the way of honor, which is an anchor for you, a strong anchor. 3rd command, I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. you were so upset. You got fired. It was unfair. You feel very insecure. You feel like a failure. I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. And I'll tell you this, and I've told many of my people that I see that good will come of that. As a matter of fact, I remember one person who got fired after 30 years on the job. I said, within 1 month, you're going to come to me and tell me it was the best thing that could have happened. He says, what? I had that job for 30 years. I loved it. I loved the people, and I got fired. I was 60 days away from retirement. I lost my health insurance, my retirement. I said, yeah, but you're still going to tell me that. You say it's the best thing that could happen to you. Well, 3 weeks later, it didn't take a month, he came to me and said, Dr. Nerenberg, I can't believe I'm going to say this to you. Getting fired was the best thing that could have happened to me. I said, Jimmy, what do you mean? He said, well, I always had a good marriage. But, I'd get up early in the morning, go before my wife to work, and she would go, come back pretty tired. She'd go back tired. We didn't have much time together every day. She came back the other day. He said, sweetheart, don't think I don't notice that you're cleaning the house before I get home and you have dinner for me. Don't think I take that for granted. I don't. I'm grateful. I've always loved you, but I love you more than ever. And he was pretty choked up when he was telling me. He said, to hear my wife say that to me was worth everything. And Dr. Nerenberg, I can't believe it, but getting fired was the best thing that could have happened to me. So once you say, I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. Now, there are what I call derivatives of that. I'm going to give you a couple of derivatives. One is, what is the best true story I can tell myself about this problem? That's a derivative of what I call the warrior's commandment of honor, the warrior's command of honor. What is the best true story I can tell myself about this problem? I remember this one very macho guy, all tatted up, big, muscular, powerful guy. He was a roughneck. That's the name of people that work in the oil fields. He came in. He looked just like he was going to fall apart, but he was very stoic. Felt there was tears behind there. He said, Doc, I've lost everything. My wife left me. I'm devastated. I said, wow, that's big. I said, as a man, as a human being, I feel compassion for you, brother. I do. He said, she didn't just leave me, Doc. She left me for another man. Whoa. I said, that's even worse. And Doc, we have 3 kids. She took the kids with her, and I haven't seen my kids in months. I don't know where they are. Lost my wife to another man. Lost my kids. I said, oh my God. I said, I have 7 kids. I'm crazy about my wife. I love my wife. That's like a nightmare. I said, yeah, I said, it was a nightmare. It is a nightmare for me. In fact, I was so stressed out, I couldn't work. I couldn't make the mortgage payments. I lost my house. I said, my God, you lost your wife, your kids, your house. I said, that's a full-blown disaster. There was no denying it. And he couldn't get out of that bad feeling. I said, listen, well, let me tell you something. What if I told you there's the best true story you can tell yourself about that problem, which will give dignity, nobility, and honor to your life? He looked at me. It was like, are you for real? Doc, lay it on me. What could it be? I said, are you ready for the healing medicine? I said, yes, I am. I'm going to give you a thought that will change all of that instantly. I said, really? I said, really? Here's the thought. I've lost everything, but I've gained myself. I've lost everything, but I've gained myself. He said, it lit up. His face changed. He started to smile. He said, yeah, I have gained myself. His face changed. the end of the session, he was like floating out of my office. In fact, he went up to my secretary and he said, I've lost everything, but I've gained myself. Still didn't have his wife, still didn't have his kids, still didn't have his job. But his perspective was changed through that thought. His feeling changed. He couldn't shake off that feeling of loss. It was serious. Think about it. That's a horrendous situation he was in. And when he left the office, he was glowing. I've lost everything, but I found myself. I had a patient come in, wonderful young lady, about 40, crying, weeping. Finally, she said to me, they shot my son. I said, what? She says, yeah, they shot him 9 times. He's in the hospital, he's in stable condition, but shot him 9 times. I said, my gosh, I have 7 children. That's a parent's nightmare. That's a nightmare. My heart goes out to you. I said to her this, I said, what if I told you that's the best true story you can tell yourself about that? That'll give dignity, nobility, and honor to you and to your son. She just looked desperate. She said, just tell me, Doc. I would love for that to be. Tell me. So I said, here's the thought that will change your perspective. The power of your thought is will give a tremendous change. Here's the thought. They shot my son 9 times. They couldn't kill him. God has a purpose for his life. She looked at me, just like with the other case. Face lit up. God does have a purpose for his life. She walked out floating. I said, be sure to tell your son what I said. She did. Next week she came in, she was still glowing. I said, did you tell your son what I said? She said, I did. He smiled. He was happy. He actually laughed. So she chose, and I told her, repeat that thought to yourself as I did to the other gentleman. For him it was, I've lost everything, but I found myself. For her it was, they couldn't kill my son. They shot him 9 times. God has a purpose for his life. She couldn't shake that feeling. I mean, what normal parent could tolerate that? That's one of the greatest tragedies imaginable. As a parent, we'd rather we got shot 9 times, not our child. But in both cases, as they applied the derivative of the warrior's command of honor, very powerful effect. She wasn't powerless. He wasn't powerless either over what was going on, which was very disturbing, very negative, very understandable. Now, I'm not saying all the time they were feeling great. I'm sure they would go through other emotions at times. But they also had this. This was speaking a little bit of light into the darkness. Speaking a little bit of light into that darkness. That was the effect. Volition, where you can choose a thought, word, and action. Now, the 4th command of honor depends whether a person believes in God or not. If I believe in God as I do, it's God, your wish is my only wish. If you don't believe in God or wish to address God, it's I seek always to serve my highest values. So let's go with God, you wish is my only wish, and I'll tell you a story from my own life. So my physician found a little lump on my prostate gland. And so I had to go for a biopsy. I had the biopsy. And I was practicing the thought, I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship quite a while. I went to get the results of the biopsy. I sat down with the neurologist. He said, Dr. Nerenberg, you have prostate cancer. It's not a small amount, it's an intermediate amount, and it's somewhat aggressive with a Gleason of 7. My face went numb. About 10, 15 seconds. And then I had the thought, because I already trained myself in this, I said, Doc, that's great. So, what? I said, that's great. I said, this prostate cancer will make me stronger, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. So I spoke those words that came from my training myself in the Warrior's Command of Honor. And as a matter of fact, when I left his office, I saw the trees and the sky and the birds like it was the first time I'd ever seen it. It was like so poignantly beautiful. I didn't know how long I would be here on earth. It was magnificent. And the people walking by, so-called strangers, they weren't strangers to me. They were family. I knew they saw me as a stranger. I just wanted to go up and talk to them like I've known them all my life. That feeling stayed with me to some extent since then. That was 19 years ago. I'm grateful for the power I gave from watching. I should also mention that when I had the prostate cancer, it's a true story, I took the title strongest drug-free man in the world for my age and my weight at 65. And I continued setting world records after that. On the bench press, I did 365 pounds. Then at 67, I set a world record on T-bar strongman pull of 270 pounds. Then at 70, I set a world record on the power pull-up, doing a pull-up with 140 pounds hanging from a chain belt. Let's continue doing these things. As a matter of fact, 3 months after I had my surgery, I was incontinent. I had to wear a diaper. I flew out to New Jersey to compete in the World Natural Powerlifting Federation. Showed up at a fight, the only athlete to ever weigh in wearing a diaper. We all had a good laugh. I told them I had that prostate cancer removed 3 months ago. The next day, that Saturday, I set a world record. And Saturday, later in the afternoon, I flew back to California. So these are the powers that you have. These are the powers that you have. Now, so you're seeing awareness, volition, and also we have the power of the mind to reason. We can reason things out. We can be rational. We could say, that person said that to me. They were having a bad day. I know he just broke up with his girlfriend. I know he just got fired from his job. So I'm not going to be angry at him. As a matter of fact, one of the laws of honor is this. I will respond more to your vulnerability than your negativity. I will respond more to your vulnerability than your negativity. So by responding to his vulnerability, his loss of his girlfriend, loss of his job, he's feeling hurt, inferior, humiliated. You respond to that, and you're not going into your own anger. Sort of like a 2-year-old coming up to you and going, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. You don't go, I hate you too, you brat. I mean, you're pooping your diaper, and who do you talk to me like that? I hate you too. You don't say that. No, you go, come here, mijo. Come here, I love you. Come here, sweetheart. Come here. You're responding to the vulnerability underneath that negative expression. So this is all through the power, awareness, volition, reason. But you must be very heavily self-trained in the commands of honor to do this. Now, as I say, if you don't want to use God, your wish is my only wish. You can use I seek always to serve my highest values. Then you want to then have what I call the bridge between the realm of honor and the reality of the real world. And it's what's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do. So you say that 3 times a day with the commands of honor. In any situation you're in, you say, what's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? So honor becomes the gold standard for everything. We're not, in this way of approach, in the honor teachings, we're not looking for happiness or peace. We're looking for honor, which is the foundation of true happiness and true peace. Then you want to be able to commit yourself to doing it 3 times a day for all of your life. All of your life. And then you want to be teaching it to others, become an ambassador of honor and bringing it to other people. Pledge goes, as a disciple of honor, I pledge myself all the days of my life to 4 commands of honor. And I'll teach them to those I love. I'll recite them every morning, afternoon, and evening, and I'll listen to myself recite them. It's a lifetime commitment. Every session when I'm meeting with my people, when I meet with my patients, I say, do you intend to keep doing this all your life, even when you're not a patient? You don't want to stop when you're not a patient anymore. I tell people, I'm not only interested in you at the age you are now, say 35, I'm interested in you as a 95-year-old woman, 95-year-old man. I want you to be able to say to me, Dr. Nerenberg, I've lived an honorable life and I have no regrets. That's my intention for you. That's the intention for myself, my family, for you. You're like my extended family, for you to have that. So these I've gone over 10 powers. The 3 foundational powers are awareness, volition, and reason. And then we can choose thoughts, words, and actions. We can use time dimension, the polarity. Now we can also choose to be grateful. You're having a thought, you're worrying, you can speak a little light into it. If you believe in God, you could be saying this, God willing, I'll be fine and I'm grateful. God willing, I'll be fine and I'm grateful. It doesn't stop the worry. You're speaking a little light into that darkness. And the more you do what I'm telling you to, that those negative thoughts, those disturbing thoughts and feelings will come less often, or less duration and less intensity. But you have to be very disciplined about it, very disciplined. So gratitude is another power that we can choose to be grateful. So we're talking about the content of our thought. These are some of the powerful ones. Love is another one in terms of expressing gratitude, thought, word, and action. Love and thought, word, of action. It's a very powerful phenomenon. Somebody hurts you, you go, I love you and I forgive you. I wish you well. That's a strong light into the darkness. These are some of the powerful dimensions that you can choose. You can also move in the direction of humility, which involves knowing how to apologize. We have some laws of honor, which are the laws of humility. I apologize. I was wrong. You were right. I'll never do it again. Please forgive me. I'll not always live with honor, but I will die with honor. That'll help bring you a deeper humility within yourself. And ultimately, as you choose the way of honor, you're choosing a path that will broaden your perspective. Broaden your perspective. And that is one of the greatest gifts, because the cause of all your stress, not 99%, 100% of your stress, is narrowed perspective. You say, I see the nature of reality. You say, I lost my job. I see the nature of reality. I'm having this legal problem. I'm seeing the nature of reality. I can't pay my bills this month. And so total reality is defined by loss of perspective. Certainly there's more in our lives besides that. I have this finger, this finger, this finger, this finger, this finger, that eye, this eye. I have a roof over my head. I'm eating. So many things, an infinite number of things to be grateful for. So there's a loss of perspective. All your stress is caused by loss of perspective. So the teachings of honor are not only an anchor, they will optimize the breadth and depth of your perspective. That's the good thing I want you to know. Well, it's been my pleasure and a privilege and my enjoyment to present this to you. Now we come to the really most important part, where we get to hear from our lovely, wonderful people and our audience. And when they speak, it's going to be even as helpful or more helpful than what I've said, because when you hear their perspective, what's going on here with other people, you feel less alone and you feel part of a larger community of people who are on this path. So without further ado, I'm going to open up to all you lovely people. Please feel free to share your thoughts, your reactions to what I've said, your questions. Please do so now.
Hey, Dr. Nerenberg, this is John.
John, always good to hear from you, John, really.
You as well, sir. I really enjoy this talk this evening because I know that we've talked in the past, and I know that we talked about always talking or opening some lightness in the dark. And I know that works well with me, as well as all the commandments that we went over. And I love saying the commandments and wishing well into the darkness, because it really opens a light in an area that I was never able to do that before.
John, you're a great student. You're a great man, a great student, and it's a privilege to have you in the program, and it's a privilege for me to watch your growth. And I get these texts from you that I often ask you if I have permission to share it, because it's so uplifting, so inspiring. But you have to stay on this path, and I know you will, all the days of your life. Yes. And when you're not my patient anymore, John, I run into you on the street or a coffee shop 10 years from now, I'm going to ask you, hey, you still doing your commands of honor and bridge? And I know you're going to tell me yes.
Always.
Yeah, good. It's a pleasure, yes. John, a pleasure.
So thank you so much for this. Yeah. I love saying the commandments. I love saying, because it helps so much, and it does definitely bring some darkness into the light. And that's a lot different than trying to focus just on the darkness itself.
Speaking that light into the darkness, that's what it's all about. And you're doing it, and everybody here can do it. Everybody listening to this presentation, you can all do this. In fact, I mentioned, 6-year-old can do it. Very good. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Nerenberg, Diego here.
Oh, Diego in Thailand. Yes, Diego. It's always a pleasure.
Likewise, Doctor. Good to see you. Thank you for the words of encouragement. I really like everything that you said. And no, I just wanted to say, that the commands of honor have definitely helped me kind of live life with more of a purpose in life, and not only that, just also to own my past, not run away from it, just basically own it. I made mistakes. We've all made mistakes in the past. I know I've made plenty of them, many mistakes that I probably wouldn't make today at this stage of my life. But it's really helped me just come to terms with them, accept them, understand that we're all flawed human beings, and just really grow and move on from them.
Well, I'm a lot older than you, Diego, so I've been a lot stupider than you. It's like my father said to me, son, I have a lot of good advice to give you, not because I've been so smart, it's just I've been so stupid. So my stupidity surpasses your own, because I've lived long, I have more opportunities to be stupid. And it's part of my foundation for being able to help you. And I tell people I wouldn't be half the man I am today if I hadn't made these mistakes and repented from them and found a way of honor being revealed to me from the Spirit. I appreciate your input. Always, every time you speak, you're such a gentleman on a wonderful path that I know for sure you're going to stay with this all your life. So I'm very happy about what you're doing with your life. It brings me happiness.
Thank you, Doctor. I really appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you. And like you and I have said many times that we're connected. You and I are connected. We're still brothers now. So when we eventually meet, wherever in the afterlife, wherever that is, because I know we will meet. We will stay connected for eternity. Put me to the test. Tell me, hey, have you been practicing your commands of honor? Have you been living with honor? What's your purpose? Everything that you do now, continue doing that for the rest of your life for me. Well,
it's an eternal bond between us. I feel that. I know the reality of that. And here and in the hereafter, we're bound together through honor. There's no more powerful union than that in terms of being bound together through honor. That's an eternal bond. Thank you for that. That's just, I love you, Diego. It's great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate that.
Dr. Nerenberg, I have to agree with Diego. You're just very inspiring, and it's just, I can relate to everything that he's saying. And I know that you and I have a beautiful bond that will transcend for a lifetime. And I'm just grateful for everything that you provide in your teachings and your honor.
Well, Gisela, you came up with the term ambassador of honor. I was calling people sustainers of honor. he came up with the term ambassador. That's why I dedicated that lecture to you. And definitely there's that eternal bond between us. You're like my younger sister, my daughter, some combination like that, spiritually. And I so much admire your creativity. You are one very creative young lady, very creative and purpose-driven. You're able to stay focused on your mission, and you have a tremendous urge to bring goodness into the world. And your job reflected that, where you were working with bringing pro bono legal services to the people. And so you're a natural fit for the honor movement. Thank you so much for speaking up, Gisela.
Thank you, Dr. Nerenberg. I do have one quick question.
Yes.
Can you just repeat the 10? I was only able to jot down because then I just got consumed and just listening to your whole lecture. I just wanted to write it down.
Well, giving the 10, it's a little bit arbitrary. It's, okay. The three main ones are awareness, volition, and reason. Then
I also picked up gratitude.
Well, now then you can choose your thoughts, which involves polarity and time dimension. You can choose your words. You can choose your action, and then you can. There's certain very powerful anchors that you can attach yourself to. 4 commands of honor, that takes you to 11, and then some specific attributes such as gratitude, love, humility, and honor. So it really comes to, it's a little bit arbitrary. It's really more than 10, but those are the ones, if I'm having to name them. Yeah.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure, because everything did seem like more than 10, and I was just getting inspired. So I was just
I picked 10. It depends when I was looking at coming up with this. But the 3 foundation ones are awareness, volition, and reason. That's the foundational ones. And then the others are really offshoots of that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, dear Gisela. Thank you.
Dr. Nerenberg, good evening, everyone. This is Jorge.
Jorge, good to hear from you. Very good to hear from you.
It's to piggyback on what Gisela and Diego said. You are very inspiring, sir. I have been part of the community for 4 months, and I can definitely say, without a doubt, that it has changed my life. It's in these 4 months, it has transformed me. I am eating better. I am exercising. I am doing the 4 commandments. I am doing what you inspire us to do to become a better human being. So thank you very much. And, to the community, to everyone that is listening right now, please, just stay with it and practice it. Like you say, repetition, I kind of, I know what it is. I kind of forgotten it right now.
Well, listen, thank you for reminding me. Thank you. I forgot to say it today, but I'll say it now thanks to you. Repetition is preparation for application.
That's it.
And it will help you achieve stabilization. Thanks for reminding me to share that again. Thank you.
Yeah. I do, Doctor.
Jerry, there you go, Jerry. Big Jerry.
How are things?
Well, I'm happy to be here with you.
I want to say that I'm definitely grateful for the program because it really does just inspire you to just, even if it's just to start with little things to change. And, those little things will become bigger things over time. And what I want to say is that, I legitimately, probably within the last 3 days, I prayed for the first time to God, who I didn't believe in anymore. I lost my faith. I hadn't been a man of faith for the last 20, 30 years, whatever you want to call it. And thanks to a very good young friend of mine, he asked me to pray with him, and I prayed. We prayed, and it really did something for me. And for the first time, because I had gone to, like 6 months ago, but it didn't feel like anything. But this time, I prayed and I prayed with purpose and real actual belief. So I'm grateful for your program for getting me started on that and being able to make little changes that led me to pray with my friend. So thank you.
Jerry, thank you, brother. I really appreciate you saying that. Made you more receptive to the spiritual realities of life. And you're a great man, Jerry. I saw it right away in you. You're a warrior for justice, a justice warrior, that's for sure. And turning to God will strengthen every part of that journey and as a person of honor. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Who else has something you'd like to ask or say? Yeah, Hugh wants to say something.
On the commandment of co-create, what if your co-creation is minimal and it unleaves a floodgate of hate? How do you not feel resentment?
So Hugh's bringing up a very good question. What if you just contribute a little bit to a situation, but open a floodgate of hate coming at you, just maybe a little bit, and that happens. It happens where maybe your part of it was small. Maybe you said a little something, or you didn't say something that you should have been saying, and a person overreacts and really attacks. And so, how do you get not overpowered by hate? And he was talking, and he asked that question in the context of taking responsibility for co-creating our reality and our problems. The two approaches. One, of course, say I co-created this, but just a little bit. So that might not be too much consolation, especially you just did a little bit. So then the other one would be, if you believe in God, your wish is my only wish. And so God would want you to forgive this person, preferably to even love the person. Doesn't mean that we're doormats. Doesn't mean we're going to let that person abuse us. No, because that's bad for him, bad for us, and bad for the relationship. We have to neutralize that. But so the command, I wish you well, or God, you wish my only wish. I wish you well, I love you. Having that thought to deal with that, or I will respond more to your vulnerability than your negativity. You might realize, gee, this person is very fragile, very insecure, and just lost his job. His spouse just died. Respond to his grief, not so much to the anger and hate that he just sent at me. So we have, within the context of the commands of honor, within the laws of honor, we have 25 laws of honor, 25 demands of honor. We have the supremacy of honor code. But you can just get by very well with the four commands in the bridge. But that's how you would deal with it in an honorable way. It still can feel pretty overpowering and a bad feeling from it. But definitely we could speak that light into that darkness in the manner I just said. Definitely doable. Definitely. Very good statement, very good question, Hugh. Who else has something you'd like to ask or say?
Doc, this is Robert Jedica. How are you doing, sir?
Robert, good to see you, Robert, in San Diego. Yes, got your hair cut or something. You look different.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I just say I've been with the program about 3 months. And as you know, as I came in, I was in a very, very dark place. Pretty successful life, and I just say the honor movement. I can't speak enough about it and your teachings. It's not just you. I think it's really this community, and and it's still not over. I mean, we're all up and down. I think that's a lifelong journey. But I think with the tool, I think it'll help us continue to go. And the biggest thing I just encourage everybody is it's okay. And it's not to be embarrassed. Sometimes we get that feeling of being embarrassed when we're down or whatnot. But realistically, we're all successful in our own way. And we just got to keep striving to keep honor in our life and keep moving. And like I said, I could say, honestly, this honor movement saved my life because I was at a wit's end and I had a very unique life. But I can tell you that I'm glad to be part of this group, and it'll be a lifelong journey.
Thank you for that, Robert. And Robert's had such a unique life. We did a movie about his life. It was a very, very interesting man, a very interesting movie. And as Robert said, it's a lifelong journey. And you're going to slip at times. I'm going to slip at times. The key is to repent and stand back up and go on the way of the commands of honor, the bridge, following the way of honor. And we all slip from time to time. That's part of the journey. So we don't want to beat ourselves up too much. Just get back up over and over again. Forgive ourselves, stand up, wipe off the dust, and move forward with the way of honor as best we can. And that intention will bring you very good results and bring you into a very constructive lifestyle. Very constructive lifestyle. Well, it's been my pleasure and my enjoyment, my privilege to be in your presence and to present to you the 10 greatest powers of your own mind.